what is your biggest fear?
So this is going to sound kind of weird, but my biggest fear is if I will have and be enough. That's the really thing that I'm just always like, am I going to have enough for my family, for myself? And am I going to be enough for my family, myself? I think that's one of the things that really drives me. Is just like, am I going to be the person that I need to be? And am I going to have what I need to have? And that fear probably is, powerful because it's motivating, but it's also demoralizing at times of like, am I going to have enough? So that can put me in a scarcity type mindset rather than an abundance mindset. It can get me not feeling gratitude when gratitude, I think, makes a major difference in your life. But when I boil it right down to it, I don't know why I have this fear of will I have or be enough, but I do. So then it comes down to how do I manage that and how do I, do things. So I make some financial decisions for myself that are maybe more conservative than other people would and say, hey, you're crazy. Well, no, it works for me because I can sleep at night. And I think that's really a lot of things is like what makes you sleep at night is really big. And then, decisions and things that I make with myself and my family are really important, geared towards that. So I think it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I
Yeah.
can totally resonate with that. I think much the same way that you do.
Yeah, I'm similar too. Like I'd be curious, are you familiar with the Enneagram test?
No, what's it called?
The Enneagram. It's actually really interesting. Seth turned me on to it, and I find it to be the most accurate personality test that I've taken when it comes to what drives me. Like really understand your drivers.
Okay.
And I'm an Enneagram type 3, which means that it's the achiever mode. And I'm very much on that hamster wheel of like literally everything in me is just constantly trying to arrive to a place I'll never arrive. Like I just have this drive where it's like, will I ever be enough? Do I actually am I, imposter syndrome runs through my brain a lot, and so I really, really resonate with. I'd be curious to see if you're an achiever type.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, part of my example is, when I first got started in real estate, which I was 21 at the time, I'm like, hey, if I could have $3,000 a month in cash flow, man, I'd just be killing it, and get to 3,000. Then it's like, man, if I only had $5,000 a month of cash flow, I'd be killing it. Then you get the 5,000 and you're like, that's not even enough. What? I was stupid. You're like, man, if I get to $7,000, you get that. Then you get to $10,000. You're like, man, I'd be killing it. Oh, that, man, I can't even, I can't take my family to Hawaii on that. What am I going to do? And it's like, and then through the process, it's never like, holy crap, I did a really good job. Like I'm really doing good. So it's always the like looking forward rather than looking backward and saying I've achieved a lot, because the mountain to climb is always really exciting. But I have a hard time looking back at the view and seeing where I came from.
I don't know if this is just something that the three of us have, or if like all humans struggle with this, but it is amazing to me. Like no matter what the circumstances are, like no matter how good it gets, it's like there are always ways to be unhappy. There's always ways to just be like, oh, it's not quite there, or oh, but what about this? Like there's always going to be something like that.
I'd love to hear some comments on this. Leave some comments, on, or some in the reviews or YouTube or wherever you're listening to this. I'd love to hear what other people think. If they suffer from the same thing, or I don't know if it suffers the right word. It's a blessing and a curse, I guess. So,
what's something that you're most proud of?
Emphatically, without a doubt, the thing that I would have to say I'm most proud of is I chose the right woman to get married to. I think that, well, let me rephrase. I chose the right woman, and we have chosen to be committed to each other through the journey. So this year we'll celebrate 20 years of marriage. So which is quite some time, especially in today's society. And our commitment, we're married today not because we have a perfect marriage. We're married today because we've committed to have a perfect marriage and to work on it, right? So it takes constant work. It takes feeding. It takes love. It takes understanding. It takes lowering expectations. It takes working with each other through hard times and good times. But I would say, when you sum up my life, man, if I don't have my two boys and my relationship with my wife, I don't know if I really won. And I see a lot of people sacrificing everything, including family, or thinking that they're going to get happiness from other places or fulfillment, and they end up being unfulfilled and hollow. And so I think it really comes down to, I'm most proud of my family.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's great.
I really resonate with that as well, because I didn't grow up in like a mom, like my parents were divorced when I was really, really young. And I have a 9-month-old, almost about to be 10-month-old. And
Congrats.
yeah. And I was just telling my wife earlier today, I'm like, I'm trying to understand what my son is going to experience with 2 parents in the house. Like, I literally said, his foundation is just so solid. Like, his starting point in life is just so much far ahead, just by the fact that he has 2 parents that love each other and love him. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm really, really just stoked for family's just a really big deal, man.
Yeah,
I think as a man, like, we have to gamify things. Like, we have to make things our mission, because like that's just how we're wired. But like, when I make my family my mission, like, I really win. I really do win.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I don't think there's anything more important you can teach, I don't know if it's son or daughter or my boys, is how to love their mom. I just think the foundation in life that I can give my 2 boys is how I treat their mother. I think gives them a whole new outlook on life, and she's the priority over them. And I think a lot of people, when they have kids, get that backwards, where like the kid's a priority. You know, the first they're crying, they need to be fed and that type of stuff. But at a certain point, it's got to flip back and say, you know, mom's the priority because there's only one of her and she can make more of you. So she's the priority. You know, so because I think that's really important that they know. And I don't mean that in a harsh way, but it's like, no, because mom gets neglected all the time. And in life, it's crazy. You know, we were married for a long time before we had kids, and we had kids, and then there's this whole new, you know, dynamic that changes. And we have another one dynamic, you know, and now my kids are busy and playing sports. And it's just like, the time for us is also really important, because I see a lot of people that, you know, 20 years later, when the kids are out of the house, they don't know each other and they end up getting a divorce. You know, because they lost the relationship along the way.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard it's a pretty common thing, actually. Like the divorce age is somewhere after like the 20-year mark, which is like,
let's just hold out till the kids are gone.
yeah. So last question here. What is the most important lesson you have ever learned?
I mean, all of these are loaded questions. You guys know that, right?
Of course. It's by design.
Yeah. I'll give you a lesson. I think the lesson is to try. I think that too many people are paralyzed with the thought of failure, that they never get started on the journey to begin with. And so it's just like, you'll never get anywhere if you never take a risk. And a lot of people are really scared to take that first risk. And it's like my first property. I bought it. It was a horrible deal. I still end up making money on it. But if I wouldn't have bought that property, I wouldn't be where I am today. And so I think you've got to take a chance. You've got to take a risk. Not taking risk is never going to get you where you want to go. And so it's just like, what degree of risk can I tolerate and live with? And how can I step out a little bit on that risk? Because the reward comes with the risk as long as the mitigation. So my biggest thing that I think I would say I would learn is how to comfortably take on risk and how to mitigate those risks in an appropriate manner where I can keep moving forward. Because if there's no risk, there's no reward, and there's also no growth.
You know, you'll never see a statue or a painting or a huge accolades lavished on somebody, you know, with the label of "this was the world's greatest skeptic."
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't happen, you know. And
but I will say, though, you see it all the time in social media. Like, the greatest skeptic is all over social media right now, saying why what you do or I do doesn't work or doesn't with us and blah blah blah. And like the skeptics now have a megaphone where they used to not. And I think that really hurts people, because it used to be you heard from people that were being success and having success. Well, now with the advent of social media, every skeptic in the world has a megaphone that's super, super, super loud that can divert me from the goals and the things that I'm trying to achieve.
Yeah. It's kind of that's the interesting thing about underwriting, is because like you have to balance the skepticism between just the facts and the risks and reward and all that stuff. So yeah, it's I think there's certainly a time and a place for skepticism. I mean, it's only wise, but like to just live that way and not see it any other ways, it's like you're just not going to get that far. I'm sorry, it's just not how it works.
No, you're not.
So,
well, I mean, if you can't live with any risk, you shouldn't get in a car.
Yeah.
You could die getting in a car wreck. It happens every day to people. You know what I mean? Like, where do you
Mhm.
draw the line? Like, even if you just hole up in a little room, well, you know, you're not gonna have any food. So now what? You know,
Mhm.
like, where does that line end?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember hearing this on the Freakonomics podcast years ago. I can't remember what the exact number was, but they were talking about the risk of dying in a car crash. And it was some astronomical number. Like you would have to get in a car and drive nonstop 24/7 for like 100 and something odd years before somebody would finally hit you and kill you.
Yeah,
Like it's that unlikely, but everybody knows a story of somebody who got killed in a car crash. I mean, it's a
absolutely.
terrible, traumatic thing when you hear about it. So it just rises to the level of higher probability than it really is in terms of
Which
how
is
we
the same
perceive
with
that.
real estate investing, and you could take it further and say it's the same with land investing. All those rumors and stories I have from
Yeah,
that is like the ones in a million. You know.
yeah, for sure. Cool, Ryan. Well, I've had a great time talking with you. And I appreciate you coming on the podcast and sharing your thoughts with us. So if people want to learn more about you, where should they go? What should they
Yeah.
do?
Yeah, absolutely. Love for you to check out Income Hacker, our podcast and the website you can see there. You can also check us out at dohardmoney.com, dohardmoney.com. Whether you're looking to invest or you're looking for funds or to put funds to work, you can check those things out there.
This is episode 60. So you can find links to all this stuff as well at retipster.com/60.